There we go. Okay. Alright, so I'll kill myself. What happens when a person just doesn't believe in their final project and just wants to get it over with? Today I'm gonna that's funny. That's very funny. Okay. So today, I guess in this video, I'm gonna be, how should it feels weird to be starting it all serious and with a, I feel it feels like the only way though, so in this video I want to talk about memes and their effects on politics, identity, and our fears. When I look at this, it reminds me of my own fucking lack of morals. I'm kidding. I need a mirror. My hair is fucked up. Yeah, it's always fucked up. Don't worry. How are we doing? Can you guys even see me? It would be awful if the previous parts were just... Can you guys see me? Can you guys see the vacuum? You guys can. Do I have to stand here? Oh, probably, yeah. Oh dear. Oh dear, okay. Alright, so in this video, I plan to give a relatively comprehensive no, let's start over. In this video, I plan to give a comprehensive understanding of memes using philosophical papers from 4 authors, namely oh, I forgot their names. Okay, what are their names? Okay, so in this video, I plan to give a comprehensive understanding of modern memes through these 4 authors, namely Limor Shifman and her 2 papers from 2013 and 2014, Stevka Hristova, I think that's right? Yes, from 2014, Farouk El Maruf from 2024, and Glenn Anderell from also 2024. I'm sorry if I butchered any of their names. And following this analysis, we're going to be looking at, first off, we're going to see how this manifests in the real world through some of the more recent memes, I guess, to tie the abstractness of these concepts together using real life examples. And then we're going to be looking at the effects of memes, no, not the effects of memes, but we're going to be analyzing how memes could or could not facilitate political engagement through the Arendtian concept of the polis. I think I did pretty good. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Now that's one hurdle done. Okay, so first off, we're gonna need to explain, we'll create a baseline on what memes are and how they function in today's world. So here I've got these papers, and each one I've kind of used to address a particular facet of memes and their behavior. So this is like the first question you see below their title. So Schiffman, I'm gonna address how memes work, more importantly how they behave and how they spread, especially within online spheres. Christova, I'm gonna address how memes carry and distort information. With Maruf, I'm gonna be asking how memes shape emotional experience. And with Andra, I'm going to be asking, how do memes shape identity and belonging? Okay, so starting at Schiffman, she now all four of these papers, I'm kind of like delineating them and like giving them their own separate area. But the truth of the matter is that they share information within themselves. Like, I probably shouldn't. Like, they agree with each other on a lot of what memes are and how they behave. I want to focus on more like the unique directions that each paper from which each paper looks at the issue of memes and how they function in modern society. All right, so with Schiffman, Schiffman's papers are look at, well, Schiffman, give me a second. I look like I have fucking brain damage. That's awful. Alright. So Schiffman and Hristova, you might notice that their papers were published way earlier than Elmarouf's and Anderau's. And now I include these still because I feel the way they address memes is very unique and worthy of analysis alongside these two from more modern eras. So maybe you can think of it as like seeing whether the theories from 11 or 12 years ago still hold together in modern day, that sort of thing. Now in 2013 and 2014, the study of memes and their culture was in its infancy, because given how niche it was, given how online it was, especially among the younger demographics, memes were not considered worthy of being studied. And it was, I think, Schiffman, Schiffman in her papers intended to put forth a way for memes to be academically analyzed. Now that's like the overall concept. Hristova is more like the other three papers in that her paper is more addressing political effects of memes. Alright, enough stalling. Let's get to actually explaining what each paper tells us. So, Schiffman's papers look at the action, the spreading of action, right? The action of spreading. God. So, memes can spread in I guess they spread through the sharing and reposting. So, if when a meme's posted on the internet, it goes to the audience. It goes like through social media, and each time the viewer, say I'm the viewer of the meme, I look at it, I find it's funny, I want to share with my friends, so I download the meme, and then well not download, but like I can share it with my friends via reposting via any sort of social media actions. Uh, and sometimes this doesn't change um, the content of the meme, like the meme itself. This doesn't change the meme itself. Um, However, if I see a meme and I find it potentially valuable for communicating some other message that the meme in that format did not, like say I find a meme speaking to like climate change, and I find that there is some potential within um, these three, which is what Schiffman gives as ways to analyze memes, like the content, the form, and the stance. I find some um, potential within this that can be restructured to speak to some other issue, like an ongoing war, for example. So I'm changing some part of the meme to focus not on like climate change anymore, but on like the war in Ukraine maybe, and then I can put that altered meme out to my friends, and then they'll share it, and maybe they'll modify it for their own purposes as well. So it is this idea of maybe mutation that describes the idea of me editing this meme and then sharing it, and others editing that as well. So memes are constantly changing, constantly evolving. Um, and plus, the virality of meme depends on its environment. So this goes partially into um, the constant evolutions of memes. So you may hear from the internet about like Gen Z memes or millennial memes or boomer memes, and this is all due to the constant evolving of um, what society thinks is funny, and that tells a lot about the environment in general and so forth. That'll be discussed later in one of the other papers. Um, but know that if if we're not talking about real life environment, we're talking about digital environment, like the audience, so to speak. If the audience doesn't find a meme funny, then they'll probably ignore it. They won't share it. Like yeah. So if the word cringe comes up often, right? If so cringe basically means that like the humor expressed in this case a meme is not compatible with current understandings of humor, current outlooks on society, that sort of thing. Not outlooks on society, mainly like it doesn't vibe with, I guess, the current state of humor um, within the audience. So yeah, so if a meme matches the humor that is in vogue right now, then it has a much greater chance to become viral than one that just is like dated or like just doesn't match the humor of that is popular right now. My lip bleeding? All right. And Schiffman also goes into detail on the meme genres. So we already discussed that memes constantly evolve and mutate, right? Um, and it would kind of be the case that memes would spread randomly, or like they would evolve randomly. Like biological evolution kind of is random. Like there isn't a like the understanding of evolution is that there isn't any factor that decides what mutation to put in where. It's mainly up to just randomness, and then the compatibility with nature decides whether that mutation will stay. Um, and kind of the same thing is here, except this genre of memes is what separates biological evolution from mimetic evolution. So, in essence, genres persist because they allow for the easy manipulation and alteration of memes. And a very popular one has been image macros. And I'll just draw one here. So it would be an image or a GIF or a video, and then here would be top text and bottom text. So yeah, there's an image here. I'm just gonna say person. And then here's like text here, and that's what an image macro is. Now, the reason why image macros have become so popular is that they are very, very easily changed. You can modify the text, you can modify the image, and now all of a sudden there is huge potential for communicating whatever message you want on there. This gives you like extreme freedom, and that's why this genre of meme, known as the image macro, has become so popular, and also why there is some sort of structure in meme evolution, in that although it mutates and evolves, it does so within the constraints of this genre that allows such propagation. And this kind of goes in tandem with something called hypercompression, right? And so you see in this image macro, there's very limited space. You only have like the top text, which mainly only supports like 1 or 2 lines, and the bottom text as well, and the image. So you can only put in very little information in a meme like this, and this kind of goes for all genres of memes, in that given the very short form attention span of the internet, you need, like, virality depends on environment. It also kind of depends on understanding. If an audience can understand your meme quickly, that kind of like boosts its virality, because it appeals to that short form entertainment. But the effect is that any nuanced political, social problems that you're trying to communicate with a meme will inevitably have their complexity greatly reduced, because there is just not enough space in the meme in order to properly convey that much information. And this all results in this the political conflict, this issue, just kind of being distorted, being not represented to its fullest extent. And we're going to get to that in Hristova's paper, but this hypercompression is, yeah, it's a major part of kind of why memes are popular. It's like that short form, it's that short form engagement, but it also is one of the biggest like pitfalls for when memes try to actually spur meaningful engagement. Cool. Now, Hristova's paper talks about how memes carry and distort information, and this kind of goes back to hypercompression, namely, yes, in greatly reducing the complexity of any political issue and just like cutting out any unnecessary detail. And Hristova's paper goes a lot into a specific instance in which this Occupy meme which aimed to fight socioeconomic inequality, which they perceived as being concentrated in the very richest people and leaving the populace at large left in like poverty and injustice and all this. And that's a very complex issue and a very complex movement that they are trying to encourage. And memes in that context did not carry that complexity using hypercompression. What they did, instead of accurately conveying the movement's goals, was to focus on their slogans and their symbols. And the most easily targeted is the "We Are the 99," which is kind of like a slogan of like solidarity, to show like, yeah, like we are the sidelined, like we as a community. So it's, yeah, it's building community. It's like creating like this yeah, solidarity. So yeah, the "We Are the 99" creates a community of solidarity, and kind of encourages a sort of um, backing of this movement through the sheer number of people that have been marginalized by this social economic injustice. However, memes took that slogan and kind of treated it as face value. So you would see like instances of people mocking the slogan by like pointing to maybe other issues that like kind of didn't that were like heavily parodying, that were just not important. I remember yeah, the South Park, there was a South Park episode in which they mentioned "We Are the 99," but like it was just totally like meaningless, like school, not meaningless, but like it was this school it was this movement within the South Park school. I don't know the school's name, of course. It was this movement within the South Park school that just turned out to be heavily trivial, just like not very like meaningful, especially not in the same way that Occupy was trying to portray it. And it just like seemed very meaningless. And this sort of parodying just takes away the meaning within the meme sphere. It takes away the meaning and the complexity of the original slogan and of the whole movement as well. And within this meme community, this sharing of Occupy memes, there's this illusion of participation in which you feel like you're involved in a community through sharing, reposting, and editing memes. But this is merely like within the internet. Not within. This is merely unimpactful participation. So I need to drink water. So in the in the illusion of participation, you feel like you're engaging with the community through sharing, reposting, and editing memes, but you are merely just, you aren't really doing anything regarding the Occupy movement as a whole. Like, the Occupy movement sought to enact genuine um, participation in this political change, but if you are on the internet and you're merely just posting and editing memes, you are not participating in that actual political change. You are merely you are merely participating in the online sphere where such where such sharing of memes just doesn't have any impact, um, especially regarding the Occupy movement in general. And and in history, like in the Occupy example, the members of Occupy were oppressed by the Obama administration. Um, and there were memes that circulated because of this oppression. And that hints at the trivialization of violence. So um, you would see memes of this political violence happening, but it would not evoke sympathy for the. It would not. Well, of course, there's hyper compression involved here. They do not portray the political violence to their greatest and most true extent. They merely, they trivialize it, but they also steered away from genuine concern, from worry, to humor because of this prioritizing feeling, mainly humor, mainly comedy and parody, um, over what's actually happening. hmm And finally, the sheer magnitude of memes, not the magnet, the sheer amount of memes that were circulating throughout the internet simply rendered the what was going on with Occupy just buried under loads and loads of parodies. So an internet user would not really come to understand the actual stance of Occupy, even if they were online quite a bit, because these memes simply tend to just outcompete information that regarded um, the true nature of the Occupy movement. All right, and here with El Marouf's paper, we have the question of how memes shape emotional experience. And so this is the first of the papers that is much more recent. And here, he describes something called the post-digital, which I find very relevant here. Um, Namely, that society now is in the post-digital, and it is characterized by um, the digital and real spheres being so integrated that um, that the digital sphere is just an inextricable part of daily life. Are you guys still recording? Yes, 28 minutes. Ooh, baby. And in the boundary between real and digital, you have the memes. Um, and see, like, memes are not restricted to the digital sphere anymore. They are spreading to real life. They are having real impact on the real life. You can see um, memes like, well, I'm not gonna go into detail. I'm gonna, yeah. Um, and a big part of this post-digital sphere is the growing anxiety and hopelessness of younger generations, particularly Gen Z people, in seeing the growing problems and the mounting issues that they have to face in this world. Um, Specifically, like societal and political inequality, climate change, um, global issues like more wars. There are a lot of wars happening, and this and many more, yeah, political extremism maybe. So this, all these issues just, um, all these issues kind of define the um, the appearance and the behavior of memes as now. So this goes back to environment. The post-digital and this anxiety and hopelessness is kind of what the modern environment is, and thus what determines virality in this modern atmosphere. And because of this anxiety and hopelessness, um, what you have is kind of this absurdity with humor, and this humor kind of bridges nonsense and actual sense. It's very confusing. It's very let me start that over. So in this post-digital sphere, um, the meme itself is not the humor, but what it references. So, and in a big way, it references this political event in a way that kind of is absurd or just doesn't make sense, especially to people who are out of the loop. And so you will see often humor that kind of can freely go into topics that were previously seen as a bit too far. Um, and this is what I mean by taboo topics. Here, like you would have offensive memes, memes that are kind of geared towards discussing issues that kind of like, or like that discuss issues in a way that wouldn't be seen as appropriate. Um, and a large part of this, it lies in the catharsis. So, humor, especially in this post-digital sphere, is very absurd. It kind of like muddles meaning, and all this results in the carnivalesque effect, where order and chaos and everything, like humor is um, humor is made from disaster and all these events, because um, it is the society's way of coming to terms with this the issues um, that are coming about, and the hopelessness. So yeah, I think that would be all I have to say on that. And finally, we have Andorel. So in here, uh, Andorel's paper mainly answers the question of how memes shape identity and belonging, um, especially within modern meme culture. um, so I remember talking about in El Marouf's paper the concept of being in the loop. Like, if you were not in the loop, you would just see these absurd memes as being just like very um, very inappropriate, very, what's the word, potentially even harmful. But um, that all depends on the in-group and out-group dynamic. So memes are a lot like jokes, in that the share of the meme gives it to the audience in kind of like this gamble that they will understand. So I can feel a sneeze coming. And if the audience understands, you have this building of intimacy and community between the share of the meme and the audience. And that kind of creates a community, but it also creates two zones, right? So me and the audience have now just created this zone where we understand ourselves, where we understand the joke, and then the outside where people don't understand the joke. So yeah, that is what building community through understanding means, in that you have this in-group that does understand the joke and thus has this interpersonal community, but the outside does not. And this comes in tandem with what is called the hermeneutical response, which is like mainly coming about in relatable memes, where memes find a way to articulate some part of the human experience that was not previously explained in such a way, and that also builds community through like this collective understanding. So there's that social phenomenon going on, but there's also a more harmful aspect to this building of community, in that it's being applied to political sides. So you have, and this goes back to hypercompression as well, where it is impossible for a meme to accurately represent one political side or the other using a meme. And so what this begets is, like, whether intentionally or accidental, a meme will not represent a political side accurately, but you create a straw man of it. So it simplifies a political side down to just a few key points that are chosen to maximize the efficiency of the meme regarding virality. But then, if a straw man of a political side is created in a meme and that meme is shared throughout, you can't really combat the straw man of your political side through through merely like trying to clarify or explain it, because as we see, there's a burial of actual issues, and like your attempt at accurately explaining the concept is simply just washed out by the sheer deluge of memes. So pretty much the only way to combat a straw man of your political side is to create a straw man yourself of the other political side. And that goes on, like they create a straw man of us, we create a straw man of them, and so forth and so forth and so forth. And you have a meme warfare here where it's just constant, it's a constant memes, and all this is just shallow discourse. Remember, none of this is actually painting the issue in its true light, and of course no deep discussions can actually pierce through the noise. And finally, there is propagation, in that memes are not the source of factual, are not treated as the source of factual information, but still are used as the basis of moral testimony, namely that we create opinions based on what we see in memes. So if I see a meme that bashes Trump, I'm gonna think, like, I'm gonna be influenced by that meme to say that, Trump is bad, or Trump is corrupt, or all this. And that is an example of like a moral testimony, in that I now have the opinion that Trump is bad solely because there is a meme that not enforces, but like tells me that. And you know, this whole thing goes back to political sides, where like people can be conditioned by memes to have these opinions, even if they're not based on fact. And even though these moral testimonies can elicit further, can be the drive for further knowledge gaining through searching the internet for actual factual information, you can't really depend on that when there's all this meme warfare, where there's all this noise going on. Yay! That's the first part done.